What's going on, game players? How are you guys doing this week? I have to say, this is a very, very special episode because I have two. That's right, two guys that you all are very familiar with. And plus, not only that, this has also been a special week. This week marks the beginning of next generation, which is now officially current generation. The Xbox Series X dropped this week along with the PlayStation 5. Now on this episode, I have two brothers that are joining me. First up, I want to introduce a person that was just on the show, what would you say, about 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago, we had a great conversation about the PlayStation 5, and he gave some great thoughts and opinions. We had a little bit of back and forth with one another, but I am so happy to have him back on the show to discuss his first impressions of the PlayStation 5. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. AB. What's going on, brother?
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
Oh, yeah. man. Oh, go ahead, AB. I'm sorry, brother. I'm so excited. I'm cutting you off, man.
Yeah, and I was just saying, as Sony would say, we're all explorers, man. This is the new generation.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed, brother. So happy to have you on. Thank you very much for joining us for this very special episode. I really appreciate it, brother.
No problem.
All right. And up next, you hear this gentleman's voice pretty much every week. Outside of mine, he is pretty much the second voice on the show that you guys hear. He has been very kind to the circle, has really given back, and it's greatly appreciated. I love going over his thoughts and opinions and enjoy his feedback. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Vaughn. What's going on, good brother?
What's happening? Glad to be here, man. I'm glad to be here in your presence and AB's presence, man. I'm just glad to be in the circle tonight.
Thank you so much for being here, brother. It is an absolute pleasure. Now, guys, there's one thing that you guys have in common that we're going to talk about. You both have PlayStation 5s. Oh, I'm so jealous right now. My goodness. and like I said on the show, I got to live vicariously through you guys. So what I want to do is, before we, get into your impressions, your first impressions of the PlayStation 5, what I want to ask you guys is, going from last generation to this generation, just to look back just for a minute, what were some of the highlights for you guys during the PlayStation 4's era? Let me start with you, AB, real quick. What were some of the things that were highlights for you during that generation, brother?
Probably I would have to say Last of Us. Last of Us was huge. Uncharted, God of War. I mean, it was so many AAA IPs that came out of Sony's camp. It's a lot, but with that being said, I did miss a lot of that last generation. So, like a lot of the big titles, such as Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, or Tsushima, whatever you want to call it. I missed a lot. Last of Us Part 2, I didn't catch that. So, there were a lot of content that I kind of missed out on. And so, going into this next generation, it's a lot on my plate, man. I got a huge backlog. But I did at least enjoy the first Last of Us, God of War, and Metal Gear, stuff like that.
Man, that's fantastic. Those aren't slouches either, brother. Those were some really big games, especially God of War. That and The Last of Us Part 2, I have said time and time again, my two favorite games of the PlayStation 4's generation. I thought they were phenomenal games. What about you, Vaughn? Were there any particular games or certain things that stood out to you during the PlayStation 4's era?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm a huge fan of Uncharted. I have every game, even the side, the ones that they did on the Vita, the ones with the ladies, escape me right now. But
the Lost Legacy, was it?
Yeah. Oh man, love the Uncharted series. As AB said, God of War, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption,
Man.
Horizon Zero Dawn. I did catch those, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not sure why this happened, but yeah, I didn't jump on Ghost of Tsushima either. But they had enough bangers throughout the whole, generation for me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I said, The Last of Us Part 2, Until Dawn, God of War, Ratchet and Clank. That was absolutely unbelievable to me. My first time jumping into that game ever. So that was like a huge one for me as far as a new IP that I actually got into. Well, it was new for me. It wasn't new for everybody else, but it was new for me. I tell you, I thought that the PlayStation 4's generation was the greatest generation the PlayStation 4 had. I understand that people hark back to the PS2, which was very huge. That was gigantic, but PS4, man, just a monumental moment for Sony for the generation. But hey, go ahead.
I'm gonna throw something else in there too.
Sure.
That stood out for me. Other than those games, the big hitters. What stood out for the PlayStation 4 for me was PlayStation Plus, because I think they really honed in on what people wanted. They took a lot of flack the generation before, I think, and they kind of got it right. I'm going to say not all the time, because some months, we could just skip. It was like, what are they thinking? But, for the most part, I think they did very well with the PSN, the free games that they were offering. I think I saw less people complaining about it, this generation. So
that's true.
For me too.
Yeah,
that's true.
That is absolutely, man. I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah, I thought they definitely stepped it up. And because of that, they actually made Microsoft have to step up as well, because, without them doing that during the PlayStation 3 era, actually throwing in those free games, Microsoft would have never done the games with gold. So, I mean, that's why it's just great to have the competition, man. Everybody should want this and not want to see one manufacturer go down versus the other. We all need the competition so we can reap the benefits of the battle. We get all of the what do you call it? I forget what you call it. Thank you, AB. Yep. The spoils of war, man. So yeah. With that being said, though, guys, let's go ahead. Let's fast forward a little bit, man. This week, was it just me? Or did you guys really feel a certain energy in the air this week, around these consoles actually dropping? Did you guys feel like, man, a little, just something in the air that just felt like it was a bit of a charge in it?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was so much buzz in the air. I mean, even when you went on like YouTube and you saw people doing podcasts and they were live, I mean, people were up 3, 4 in the morning still live, and you could just see the difference in how it went down from, on Tuesday, it was some buzz. I mean, people were active, but on Wednesday night going into Thursday, it was something different. Even though we're, with the pandemic and everything, everybody kind of being a little bit more locked in and not able to do the Midnight Madness like normal, but it still was a lot of activity and everybody was talking.
Most definitely. What about you, Vaughn? Did you feel like that little bit of electricity in the air, brother, during the lead up?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Absolutely. And it kind of reminded me of, if you remember, and I'm sure we all did it at least once. You remember a time when we were standing in line in front of the store, waiting for the store to open with our numbers, or even further back before they started giving out numbers. When you were just in line and some people had their little handhelds and you were talking to the person in front of you and behind you, and it was just all love.
Yes.
And you wait for that console box to be put in your hand. With no hate or nothing. So it kind of brought me back to that time, which we haven't really felt in quite a while.
Yeah, I would agree, man. Matter of fact, let me ask you guys just this question. Now, with this generation wrapping up, do you guys think that it was a little more energy around this generation versus the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4's generation? Do you feel like it's a bit of a different it was a bit of a different energy this time out, because I can tell you guys, for me personally, this generation that's wrapping up, it took me a little while to get excited about this generation that we're, leaving out of. I mean, I was a bit excited, but it wasn't hitting me the way that this one is. Do you guys kind of feel the same way?
I felt like the generation started off we were kind of slow because there were so many disappointments in the beginning. We were getting promises of this happening, and then it was like, no, we don't need the camera. What do you mean we got to pay extra for this camera that we don't want? And but it slowly picked up as it does.
Right.
They release these systems, and you really don't have anything on the shelf to get. One game, and see, I come from the old school where you could get a pack-in game, and there'd be 3 or 4 games on the shelf.
Yes, sir.
It was a slow start. It was a slow burn, in my opinion.
Gotcha. What about you, AB? How did you feel, man?
Yeah, it's different this time around. For I think 2 different reasons. I think the first reason is because of the fact that the way Sony positioned themselves closing out this last generation. This is the first time we've seen a console company drop 2 AAAs like weeks before the new console comes out.
Yeah.
And I think that when they saw those games, and those games were mind blowing. When we saw Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, the bar was set to a new level. And so you figure, it's like, hold on, 4 weeks to 6 weeks from now, we get a whole new console that's even more powerful than this. So everybody got super excited. And then I think that just because of the world scene, everybody's looking for something to take their minds off of what's going on. And these new consoles are a part of that, because you can get away at home. So I think those 2 things really got people real hyped up.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, AB. I mean, I can't really, now keep in mind, I mean, look, man, my memory is not that great, but I can't remember a company, closing out a generation this strong. I mean, you could go back to 2013 and you could say that Sony closed with The Last of Us, but that was it. But this time out, they've had The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, which I am almost 100% sure that both of those games will be up for Game of the Year. And then on top of that, because the year isn't over, they released Miles Morales and Demon Souls Remastered, all in the same year. I mean, this is unfathomable. Is that a word? Is that a right word?
You good?
Yeah, you got it.
If it's not, it's a word.
But no, it is actually incredible, man. So with me mentioning, Miles Morales and Demon Souls, you 2 brothers, y'all have the PlayStation 5. The first thing I would want to ask you guys about is when you got that box, oh man, and you opened it up. Now, this is going to be a question you guys probably don't think I'm going to ask, or be like, what? Did it come with a subscription of PlayStation Plus? I'm just curious. I just want to know.
No, not mine at least. No. Vaughn, he's a real MVP. They about to select him on the side to pick this box.
Well, I am curious about something, because where did you get yours from? Where'd you order yours, AB?
I got mine from Walmart.
Okay. All right. Perfect. My question is, to answer your question, Kiaun, when I opened my box, the only thing I had in it that I'm thinking is probably a little different is there was a little, and it kind of reminds me of CD Projekt Red. It had a card in it from, and I don't even know whose signature this dude is, but it had a card in there thanking me for supporting Sony and ordering from them directly. Wow. So okay. I mean, I have that, but I think that's probably going to be the only thing that's different. But to be honest, 100, to keep it 100, when I saw that, I was like, okay, all right, that's nice. I mean,
yeah,
I can't spend it. I can't spend it, but it's a nice touch. It's like I said, it gave me that CD Projekt Red feeling, and anybody who bought CD Projekt Red stuff, you can kind of feel that when you open the pack. And you see that letter in there from them, that note.
Yeah, it does mean something. It kind of makes it like personal, right, Vaughn? It's kind of like they're talking to you personally. I hear you on that, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I was just curious to know because, they're making, I'm not going to say they're making a big deal of the PlayStation Plus classics, but I have to say that the games in that service are really, really good games. I mean, these aren't just throw around games. I mean, it's Days Gone is in there, God of War, Detroit Become Human, Until Dawn. It's a heck of a list, man. So I just thought that maybe, since not everybody could have possibly had the subscription, that would have been something that they might have wanted to push. That was the reason why I was asking, because I just think it's a fantastic line of games that they have in there. And I thought that they might have wanted more people, if they hadn't been in the ecosystem, to maybe give them 30 days just to check it out for the ones that weren't. But that's perfectly fine. That is okay. I guess the next thing I would want to ask you guys is, everybody, now this is the thing. I hate to jump into this first, but I have to know. Everybody, up to this lead up of PS5 coming out, all we heard was people talking about this controller, this DualSense controller, and how amazing and how revolutionary it's going to be and how it's going to change gaming. Now, I will be the first to admit, I said, I don't know. We've all been oversold by these companies time and time again. So is this really going to be what they say it is? And then I started hearing some reports about, the robot game, Astrobot. I've heard things about Astrobot, brothers. Now, what I would like to know is, have either one of you, and I know it's a pack-in game, which is actually, it kind of goes back to what you said, Vaughn. It harks back to when we were younger and it was a pack-in game. Did any of you brothers get a chance to check out Astrobot? And if you did, what were your impressions of the controller? The game as well, but we know that it's supposed to show off the controller and what it can do.
Yeah. Well, I'll go first. My impression, my first initial thoughts are that I think this controller is a game changer. To be honest. It's a real game changer, but I'm going to add a caveat to that. It's a game changer if third party gets on board.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a good way to start us off. What about you, AB? How did you feel about it, brother?
Yeah, I gotta agree. This controller here, man. So I started playing Astrobot, and the one thing I did like is the fact that it's not intrusive. All of the haptic feedbacks. It's not like they go out of their way to make the controller just be a thing. It's like when it does go off, it just makes sense. And it's a fully merging thing. And so when I first started using it, and I started to feel the haptic feedback, and I was like, this is cool. It didn't necessarily blow me away. But then as the game progressed, and I'm not going to give you these spoilers, but there are certain aspects as you're going through. And I got to one point, and I even messaged you, Keys. I was like, this is it. I was like, this is it right here. There's no hype. This thing is real. And I think that, like Vaughn was saying, if the developers get on board, it's limitless possibilities. And I think that Sony has taken the time to not only create a platform for the developers, but then they showed them how to use it. Yeah. So it's not like the developers are just clueless trying to figure out how to use this new technology. They gave it to them and then said, this is exactly how you demonstrate it. Yep. So it's definitely a game changer.
And I like to compare it to, of course, it's going to be compared to the DualShock. And the thing I like about it is like AB said, it's not what's the word, obtrusive. It's subtle.
Gotcha.
It's really subtle. And if you remember on the show, I was saying that I heard rumors that when in Spider-Man, when Miles is on the train, you could feel it, the train.
Yes.
It's not. They kind of overhyped that a little bit what I read and what it actually is, and like AB said, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's there, and it's so realistic, if that's the word I can use, because it's like, okay, I don't even want to go back to the DualShock anymore, because there's something that you have to play with the. I don't know if you knew this, Kiaun. There's some games you have to use the DualShock on the PlayStation 5. You can't use it.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah. They had said that. People got upset about it.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because it does have features. So honestly, I just didn't even want to go back to that controller, because I knew, okay, when Liu Kang is hitting Terminator, my control should be rumbling here.
Right.
When he's walking across the scene, I should be feeling his footsteps here when he stumbles or something. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, wow. So wait a minute. Hold up. Now. Okay. All right. Me as an outsider, I'm trying to imagine and picture this, because I got to tell you, Vaughn, what you just said is very interesting. You said that if the character is walking across to the other character in Mortal Kombat, you should feel his footsteps. Is that what the dual senses really bringing to the table, where it puts you in a whole different mind frame of what is possible with the controller? Because this is a first.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this thing is crazy, man.
If Terminator, and I guess, I'm looking forward to when they do these upgrades to the PlayStation 5, because, you said you like, what was the 80s characters we were joking about?
Rambo, talking about Rambo?
No, the dude that I said that's not the 80s character Terminator 2 is.
RoboCop.
Right. When RoboCop is taking bullets to the chest, I'm thinking I should be feeling this in the controller, and I'm not feeling it. I'm going back to it's that good. It makes you think when you're not playing with it, something's off.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I picked up my PlayStation 5 controller, man, and I immediately took my DualSense and threw it away, man. I don't want it anymore. I don't want the DualShock 4. I don't want it. Yep. You can go and get it. If it's a game and it's not utilizing the DualSense, I don't want the game. Throw it away. That's just what it is.
I feel that. And the only reason why I haven't thrown mine away is because there's certain games that I brought over that I have to use it for. But I don't even want to use them now. I don't even want to play them.
So wait a minute. All right. Well, that leads me to this question, and I'm not done with the DualSense part of it yet. But how does the feel of the controller feel in your hands? Because it sounds like, according to both of you guys, it feels better than the DualShock controller, which I thought was a pretty comfortable feeling controller.
Yeah, it was nice. It definitely was.
AB gave it a pat on the back and said, "It's okay. You tried. You tried."
And I feel him on that, because it's not something you're gonna go, I gotta get used to this. It feels like what you're already used to. That's a good thing.
Okay, gotcha.
But where it is different, it's heavier, it's beefier, and it's got the longer handles, I guess we want to call it that.
Okay.
So for me, it's better. It's what it needed. I mean, when you think about a controller, you go, well, what can they do with a controller? And truly, I thought last generation, when they brought out that whatever the Xbox Pro controller is, I was thinking, now, what can PlayStation do? Because this is a pretty good, it's my preferred controller anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I play with a PlayStation controller than an Xbox controller. And I'm thinking, what can they do to improve it? And then when I heard about all this haptic feedback and all this, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. But it is what they said it is, man.
That's unbelievable. Go ahead, AB. My bad, brother.
No, and I was gonna add something that's it's still control related, but not as focused in on. So just the other day, I was playing NBA 2K, and partner of mine, he hit me for a party chat. Now, mind you, typically when you have a group chat or whatever, you usually have your headset on, and then you're able to talk and communicate. But this time, I was in the middle of the game. I joined the party chat, no headset, and I was literally having a conversation through the controller.
Man, get out of here! It's so. Go ahead, AB. My bad. Go ahead.
It's very, very convenient, and I mean you can hear them because you got the speaker on the controller. So I'm hearing them through the controller. They were hearing me clear through the microphone on the controller. Nothing on my head, and I can just still play the game, use my controller, and they weren't even hearing the feedback from the button presses because it works seamlessly, man.
I'm blown away by that, brother. And this ain't no cap. I really wasn't even gonna ask about the microphone. I'm gonna be honest because I thought it was gonna be such a secondary kind of focus for PlayStation. I thought they were going to kind of put it in there like, we'll just throw it in there real quick and not really put a lot of oomph behind it. But you're saying, AB, that when you were talking to your partner, to your friend, that y'all both could hear each other just fine and no headset, just strictly through the controller.
Yeah. I mean, they never asked me what did I say, not one time. And it's cool because they have two microphones actually on the controller. There's one on the top side and then there's a mic on the back side of the controller as well. So they're using some type of technology to mute out the button presses so that it doesn't distort what's being said.
So you can't hear all the clicks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm kind of at a loss for words, brother. Wow. What about you, Vaughn? Were you able to experience this as well, or you haven't had a chance to yet?
I haven't had a chance yet, and I'm really curious about the background noise because I believe there's some type of noise canceling along with the not being able to hear the buttons. I'm curious to know if you're in a party with people playing music in the background, if you can hear their what's going on. Mm. I think they put noise canceling in there in one of those mics too.
Mm.
Wow, that's a bit of I would say a game changer because, I mean, we know that with Xbox, they would, pack in the, the little headset or whatever. And that was great. They made sure that everybody had mics and everybody could communicate. But this is somewhat on a bit of a different level because now it doesn't have to be cumbersome. It doesn't have to be something over your head. You can actually talk pretty much almost, as it were, well, I don't know if it's hands-free. You got the controller in your hand,
right.
Which y'all know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Right.
It really makes it so everybody that's involved can actually talk to one another, and you don't have to worry if somebody doesn't actually have a microphone. Very, very interesting, man. Wow. Well, let me ask you guys this. Golly, AB, you really, that's something, brother. Man, I guess, okay, now, Vaughn, I got to ask you this, brother, because you would know the answer. Does the PlayStation 5's controller, does it compete? Because I know you said that you like the Xbox's controller a little better. Now, with this DualSense.
Oh, no.
Go ahead, Vaughn.
I like the PlayStation better.
Oh, okay,
better.
You like the play. Oh, wow. Oh, well, never mind. This is a mute question, brother. Oh.
Now, here's my thing. I prefer it for certain things that I play on the Xbox, like first-person shooters. I do prefer that controller for that. The PlayStation for everything else.
Gotcha.
It's a more comfortable controller, and let's put it this way. I had last generation. I even got to a point where I had this adapter that I bought where I could use a Sony controller on an Xbox, and I know that's blasphemy for some people listening, but it was because they had games on there, fighting games. I usually prefer the Sony controller for fighting games, and shooters, first-person shooters, I like the Xbox one, but there was things like Killer Instinct on Xbox, and so I bought the controller adapter for games like that. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna play it and get into it, I'd rather be comfortable and use a controller that I'm comfortable with.
Right.
So, saying that to say, I like the fact that they beefed up the controller. It's a minor thing, but it has the heft of the Xbox, but it still feels like what you're used to with a Sony controller.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, I definitely still prefer the Sony controller over the Xbox one. Now, I'll say that, but I haven't ever played with a Pro controller. You know that?
Oh, the Elite controller.
Elite, yeah, the Elite. I've never used
Gotcha.
that, and I hear that's pretty good.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
don't-
hear too. Yeah,
For
yeah.
$200, it better be.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely, man. Most definitely. Yeah, that's one I have not gotten yet, brothers. I'm still trying to figure that situation out. I probably will never get one. But with that being said, right, guys, what games have you guys actually, before we get into the game, well, I guess the two will kind of go with one another. I'll start with you, Vaughn. What are some of the games that you've been playing so far?
Okay. I have been playing, of course, Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Had to bring that over to see how that looked, because I had been watching these videos and hearing all this stuff about that this generation, where it's going to eliminate the need for remasters and all this. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I believe that hype, but let's just take a look. So Mortal Kombat, I brought that over. I got Godfall. I got, of course, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. And I actually broke down and got Sackboy, which I was not going to get, but I heard that Miles Morales is short, so I wanted something just to throw in and play when that comes to an end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I, of course, because it was free, I got the Bug Snacks game, another game that I said I would never get that game. I would never pay for it. So I did stick by that.
Right.
I didn't pay for it, but it's free, so why not?
Hey, Vaughn, did you try it?
I have not tried it yet. I'm
Okay.
going to try it tonight. I am going to try it tonight, though. I did try
gotcha.
Sackboy, though.
Oh, you did try Sackboy out?
Yeah, I tried that out right before we jumped on. It's not bad. It's not a bad game.
It's a pretty good platformer, not too bad.
You know, and I've never played a Sackboy game either, but
Oh, man.
it's a platformer. It's pretty, if you're into those, and I'm not a platform guy. I mean, if
Right.
it's in the game and it makes sense, I love it, but a whole, platforming game like this is not usually what I play, but I have fun. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's good to hear. Does it use any of the dual senses, any of the features of the dual sense controller with the game?
Absolutely. It's just like Astrobot. It's there for that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's there for that reason to, as Astrobot is kind of like a demonstration to show you this is like, okay, we're going to put it in a full-fledged game. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's just like that.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty nice, man. My goodness. And graphically, how do you like the graphics on it, Vaughn?
It's excellent. And this is a holdover for Ratchet and Clank. Excuse me, losing my voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I'm waiting for Ratchet and Clank, another game I've never played, and that's funny that I keep hearing myself say that. But this is what the PS5 is going to do. It's going to make me play games that I've never even thought about playing before.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Vaughn, as a person that just got into Ratchet and Clank this generation, man, that game is amazing, man. It's like the only game, well, not the only one, maybe outside of The Last of Us Part 2 and God of War, that I was close to giving it a perfect score. It was just incredible. I think I gave it like a 9.5 out of 10, somewhere around there. It's just amazing looking, man. And just thinking about Rift Apart, I mean, that thing looks like a Pixar movie, man. It looks amazing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. AB, are you getting that?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you guys something. Since, we're all talking about getting it, do you think that just like it shows us how they can jump from world to world, do you think that's realistically how it's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think
I don't
so.
see no reason not to,
Yeah, I think so. I would be very disappointed if it didn't happen exactly the way they showed it, because I think they actually showed gameplay in the footage, right?
Oh, they did, man. It looked amazing, Vaughn. And the thing that makes me think that it will do that, AB, he had to school me on some things behind the scenes. So, but just the mere fact that it will not be released on the PS4, I think that's a pretty good indicator that it can't run on anything outside of that SSD technology that they have going on, which I mean, good grief, it looks so amazing, man. I mean, I'm just really excited to see how that comes out after everything is done. I tell you, Insomniac has been a huge get for Sony since they acquired them. What was it, last year? I think they acquired Insomniac Games. It's like they have paid off in dividends already, and they're only in their first year or so of being acquired. So it's been incredible, an incredible situation with Insomniac and how they've been turning out games. I guess AB, for you, what games have you played, brother, so far?
I've been playing the Spider-Man for sure.
Now, see, I was hoping you would say that. I mean, Vaughn had a list. I mean, that brother had a whole list. I was hoping he was going. I was trying to jump in, but he kept going, AB. But real quick, that's the game that I wanted to talk about just for a minute. And I'm glad that both of you guys actually have it. So now, from what I've heard on the outside, once again, having to live vicariously through you guys with the PS5, they say that the swinging and the animations are amazing. No pun intended with that, but are amazing in this game. AB, what you've played of the game, have you felt the DualSense controller actually taking advantage of, once again, another first-party IP?
Yeah, there's another one, man. When you're swinging, you definitely feel the tension. And once again, it's not a situation where, like I was saying, it's not intrusive, where, it just feels good. It's like it should have always kind of been this way. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of where you can really see good engineering, when it doesn't feel like it's doing something out of the way. And so you can just feel the electricity when it's charging through him. The swinging is good. I mean, graphically, the animations are amazing, and I like the fact that this generation you're going to have the option where you can prioritize the frame rate, and then if you want to, you can prioritize the resolution. Yeah, you have the best of both worlds. It's really, really nice, man.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you think of it, Vaughn? As far as
man, it is. Yeah, it definitely shows off, and this was after MK. This was the first one I put in, and I was like, okay, let's see what this controller is all about. And yeah, it was like I was very happy with how they did it. And like I said, that when I said it's not intrusive, it was like, subtle. Mm-hmm. This is what I was talking about. And actually, I don't want to spoil it, but can I mention one scene? I'm sure AB has done it because it's right in the very beginning, but it's not a spoil. It's just something that happened. And I want to see if he caught it.
Yeah.
All right, AB, in the beginning when Miles is walking down the street, and he sees the guy, he got the headphones on. By the way, the music is tight.
I heard that. Yeah. I heard
the soundtrack.
Tight. The soundtrack is going to be nice. But when he's walking down the street with the headphones on, he sees the guy struggling, trying to get the sofa in the truck. You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he went over to help him. Did you feel the controller when they both lifted? They were both on the ground, Kiaun, and the guy was struggling trying to get a sofa on the truck, on the moving van. And Miles came over to help him. And when they got it up, leveled up, and pushed in, did you feel the controller when they slid it across the floor in the back of the truck?
Yeah, man.
When I stopped for a second, I was like, "Oh, this is a game changer."
Yeah, it really is.
I'm not even exaggerating. I put the controller down. And I was like, "What?"
Why?
I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I felt them slide the sofa legs across the floor of the truck, and it wasn't like it was shaking in my hands. It was just subtle, but you realized that's what you are feeling.
So wait. I mean, this is really amazing to me. I'm honest, because we haven't seen, like, me and AB, we were talking behind the scenes, and we were just saying that this is, I mean, it really does sound like this is a game changer. Almost, would you say that, since I have both of you guys on here, would you say that this is as big of a game changer? And I know this is a kind of tall order to fill, but I gotta ask it. Would you guys say that this is as much of a game changer as the N64's analog stick was to gaming and the Rumble Pack? Oh man, maybe not.
I'm just really just trying to weigh it before jumping out the window.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may just be. I mean, I think that
it could be
because you're talking about this is basically a way for the game to communicate to the gamer in a way that we've never seen it.
Right.
It's a whole different level of communication where you're being engaged into the game on a new level. So I mean, it could be equal because I mean, it was the same thing with the Rumble Pack that communicated to us in a way we hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think here we're now looking at the next phase of that. So this could be like the second iteration of what the Rumble Pack and what the analog stick was.
Yeah, and I can actually see Microsoft and Nintendo copycatting this controller.
I was gonna ask you guys about that.
They're gonna have to.
Yeah,
they're gonna get joked when they do it because it's a copycat thing, but it's a necessary move.
But it's a necessary move. It's something they need to do if everybody gets on board. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the other, people making games.
Oh, third party. Yeah.
If they do it and they do it right, Microsoft and Nintendo will have to follow suit. They will have to.
Wow. So it has the potential. Like you said, don't jump out the window yet, Keys. Don't jump out there yet. But you guys would say, and keeping it like a realistic view of it, you guys would say it does have the potential to at least possibly match where how the Rumble and the analog sticks kind of ushered us in to that next generation of controllers.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're talking about when you're playing Call of Duty and you're able to tell a pistol from a rifle.
Because
you can feel the difference in what you're using. Yeah, it's that big.
And a shotgun from a machine gun.
Okay, all right. So wait a minute. Now I know I'm all over the place here. Bear with me, brothers. I would try to bring it full circle. Okay, quick question.
I got one more.
Go ahead, Vaughn.
Imagine now you don't have to worry about throwing a grenade because the throwing of a grenade depends on how hard you press down the trigger button.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! Now let me ask you this, Vaughn. Now that's an interesting thought too, because you guys remember back during I believe it was the PS2 era, and like I said, my memory is a little fuzzy, but you guys remember that they were trying to make that like a big deal, like the triggers actually had tension in them where you could just kind of push it down a little bit and it would actually respond to what you were doing. And we know that didn't quite pan out the way that they said. But are you guys both in agreement that with this controller it would just be that simple, enough of a press to actually make something like that really happen and pretty accurately, like the throwing of a grenade, like you were saying, for example, Vaughn?
I want to say because before I played Astro's Playhouse, I had no idea, and that's a perfect example. When you get it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They do this thing with the triggers when the game first boots up, and I was like, okay, this is what they were talking about with the triggers.
Was that out of curiosity, Vaughn? And I know you played it too, AB. So I'm just including both of you guys in this. Was it kind of like that? I heard it was kind of like a spring effect. Is that what you guys are you kind of like talking about, Vaughn? Kind of like a spring effect in the trigger.
It was more of a tension effect, if I could describe it that way. If that makes sense, it was just more. It was just the tension.
Okay, gotcha.
That I really feel the tension.
Man, oh man,
it's good. It's really good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. So AB, because I gotta move on from this controller, but it's just so interesting though because everybody is. I mean, people are talking about they may just get games on the PS5 because of the controller versus getting it on the Xbox Series X. And these are like some of these guys are diehard Xbox fans, and these guys like, man, I got some real gaming decisions to make right now, on where I'm gonna go. So that's why I'm just so enamored with this controller. But the last thing I'm gonna ask you guys, have any of you guys, because I can't quite remember, but have either one of you played Call of Duty? The latest one, is it Cold War? Or have any one of you guys played that yet?
Yeah, Yeah, that's what I was talking about, man. Where you can see and feel the difference. So,
so you actually have played it, AB?
Yeah. It's nice, man. Like I said, when you can tell the difference, the response, the way that the controller communicates to you what you're actually using on screen. Yeah, you can tell. It's definitely a marked difference between which weapon you're using, and
wow.
It's nice.
So like you were alluding to it earlier, AB. You said you can actually feel like the difference in like the shotgun versus a pistol.
Yeah, the kickback is different.
What?
So you feel it. Yeah. So if you're shooting a pistol, or if you go to, as Vaughn was saying, to a machine gun versus a shotgun, yeah, it's a different feel.
That's nice.
That's crazy, man. That is that could definitely be a game changer. I'm just thinking about, and I know this is a ways off, but I'm just thinking about what they could possibly do, and I got some nerve bringing this up, man, but what they could possibly do in VR. You know, I mean, you already being immersed with the visor on, but then taking the controllers and maybe adding something extra to it to really suck you in. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. My hat goes off to Sony. I'm so happy to hear that the controller is not a gimmick, but it actually is something genuinely different that we've never, felt before, I guess, as it were. That's awesome news, man. But keeping on with the gaming side of things, I gotta ask you guys about the loading times. How have you guys felt? I'm going to go with you, AB. I'm going to go with you first, AB.
What's loading times?
Man, oh, shucks. Vaughn said, I had forgotten, brother. What is that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you guys are, well, all right, Vaughn, let me ask you, brother.
No, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Oh, man. All right. So, okay. Let me ask you guys this. Loading up Miles Morales, because both of you guys have that game. So, all right, AB, I am going to start with you, brother. Now, I'm sure you didn't time it like Digital Foundry, brother. I'm not asking for like an accurate time, but how fast would you say, I mean, just guessing, AB, how fast would you say the game loaded up, brother?
Man, you're talking seconds. I mean, it really is. Seconds, because I mean, before you knew it, the press any button screen was up there, and it gets to the point where I was playing NBA 2K, and it shocked me how quick I got into the game. I wasn't used to it. I'm used to seeing some loading screens and some other things to distract you while it's loading up, and it was just like, okay, boom, here's the game, and I was like, man, I'm not even ready. I'm not ready yet. It's really, really fast, and even outside of the loading, when the game is actually being played, when installing games, it used to be a time period where you were installing the game for 40 minutes.
Yeah,
and I went ahead and installed Last of Us 2 on my system, and everybody should know that's a 100 gig game. It's a 100 gigabyte game, man. I loaded that game along with Horizon Zero Dawn, along with Ghost of Tsushima, and I think I loaded something else. And I want to say, I'm going to be generous and say that took 20 minutes.
What?
I'm going to say that maybe those 3 games, and that must have been somewhere around 200 gigs. It might have taken about 20 minutes to load all that in there.
My goodness, AB. Good gosh, man. I would be waiting 9 hours for something like that. Man, what about you, Vaughn? How many games did you install on yours at one time, and how did you feel about the download times, Vaughn?
Well, I had the 4, not counting Bug Snacks, not counting that one, but
right,
same experience. It was quick. And what I loved, and people say, Sony is not consumer friendly. That's bull. Because when you're setting up the system, when you do the initial setup, it even tells you in the middle of setting it up, if there's a disk that you have, go ahead and put it in now, and we'll install it while you complete your setup.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And by the time I finished doing the setup, which was so easy, when you first get a machine, you take it out the box and you got to sit there and, an hour later, you still setting up the time, what region am I in and all this.
Right.
They made it so easy. By the time I finished setting up the system, Spider-Man was ready to play. It was ready to go.
Unbelievable.
And then I took the disc out and I said, okay, well, I'm going to put the disc in for this game. And, a couple minutes later, I'm putting the disc in for the next game. I did all the games and was ready to play. I stayed up till 3 o'clock. Let's just put it that way. I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning playing because I didn't have to sit there and mess around with wait times. So you'll love it.
Golly, that is such great news just to hear that jumping from, getting the games to get started, is basically minimal time to almost no time. I mean, I've been hearing, these things that, Spider-Man Miles Morales starts up pretty quick, but and plus you guys remember it might have been maybe about a year ago or so. I think it was over the summer. We had heard about the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, the load times and how fast it loaded up in like 6 or 7 seconds. Something just once again, I couldn't imagine. So both of you guys are in agreement that since both do have Spider-Man Miles Morales, you're talking about seconds to get into the game and get started. No time.
Yeah. And you know how in some games it's obvious that you're going to even when they're smooth with it, where you have to go through a door or go through a tunnel or something, and it's obvious that that's a load.
Oh yeah, the elevator, brother, the elevator route.
Yeah. Or even in God of War, this last game, you notice when he goes through a door, okay, it's switching. You can tell that we're going into a new section. The game is loading up the next scene, but it was so smooth. But you got to a point of playing that you knew it. In this game, I don't know. It's just smooth.
Man.
That's a good experience. The only thing I do, full disclosure, the only thing I had a problem with as far as load times were games that I was playing off of my hard drive, and that might have been my hard drive issue.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
That's the only thing. Older games, that's the only thing I had an issue with.
Now, let me ask you about that really quickly, Vaughn. So you actually had to you transferred some of your games over, or like from your hard drive, or you just hooked your hard drive up to it and just played it off of the hard drive?
Yeah, I just disconnected it from the PS4, connected it to the 5, and was playing games off of that.
Now, if I could ask you real quick, Vaughn, was it really just plug and play? Like literally just take it off of the PS4 and plug it into the 5 and you're off to the races?
Literally.
Wow.
I didn't have to do anything, just hook it up. Just hook it up in the back. It may have been some installs, but like I said, it was doing it all in the background. So, while I was doing other things, it was telling me, and I did have the option on for it to pop up on the screen, which I turned it off because it was telling me, this game has been added to your download. This game has been added to your library. And I was like, let me turn this off.
Oh man, that's amazing. AB, I guess you actually had installed. You had just took the discs, right, AB, and installed them on yours, like the PS4 games, I guess, as it were.
Yeah, it was certain games that I wanted to be on the internal SSD because you get all the game boost benefits if it's actually on the internal SSD.
Right.
So that was the reason why I put, like I said, Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 and stuff like that on there. And the other part of it too that's great is the fact that Sony is updating those games to be able to utilize the DualSense.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that some of the games you have to use the DualShock 4,
right.
But a lot of the newer first-party stuff, you can just use your DualSense for everything. And so it's been working out real nice.
Man, that's awesome. Now talking about the PS4, I guess that's going to lead us to the final, topic, just to go over this. Now, we've heard, this generation, especially from Microsoft. Now, this is interesting to me. Microsoft put such a emphasis, I mean, an absorbent amount of an emphasis on their backwards compatibility. And all of a sudden, I gotta quote you here, AB. Sony, they underpromise and over-deliver. How shocked were both of you guys to see? Well, I don't know if you guys looked at the Digital Foundry breakdown, but just the fact that these games now, some of them, I can't say all, but some of these games are getting that boost mode, and it seems to be making a genuine difference. Were either one of you guys shocked by that? Because it kind of came out of left field for me, because when I heard Mark Cerny up on the stage at GDC, he was like, yeah, the best 100, games will be backwards compatible. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is just an over view. They're not really going to put a lot of emphasis behind it. This is just to pretty much keep everybody quiet and just give them something. Just, here, take that. But to hear that it's actually games like God of War and Days Gone that are running at 60 frames per second, were you guys pretty amazed by what Sony did here, or did you guys think this was what they were going to do the whole time? Because I was blown away. I'll start with you, AB. Oh,
okay, good.
Oh, go.
Yeah, I really wasn't shocked. I think, everything is running on the same architecture from the 4 to the 5. So knowing how Sony operates, they always are real low key with things. They don't overhype it. And then when it comes to the show, time to show it out, it's always more than what they said. And so I really wasn't surprised that everything crossed over for the most part. But what did surprise me was just the way in which it was executed. When Digital Foundry did the backwards compatibility breakdown, and stuff was just running at a rock solid.
Yeah, man.
Even like on the Xbox Series X, it was fluctuating a little bit.
Yes.
That thing was just rock solid, and I was like, wow. That was what impressed me.
Yeah, I was blown away by it. Go ahead, Vaughn. My bad, brother. Go ahead, brother.
I agree. I mean, it was, even where it wavered, it didn't waver much. It was very minimal. And I agree too. I wasn't really surprised, but I was very hyped when I saw that Digital Foundry. I was like, okay, they locked it in, and they know they got to bring it. Because Game Pass. So they're gonna bring it. So I was glad to see. I was just more relieved that okay, this is our answer.
Yeah, I was. Man, I couldn't believe it. Once again, like you said, that Digital Foundry had my jaw on the floor when you saw that line, and it did not fluctuate up and down a little bit. I said, this is unbelievable. This is something I expected from Xbox, from the Series X, because that's all they've been pushing the whole time. But here you have Sony, like you said, AB, real low key, not much to say about it. And then they come out the gate with these kinds of numbers, this kind of performance. It was truly amazing to me, guys. I was blown away. Have any of y'all, I said y'all, have any of you two, either one of you, been able to play any of the games that are backwards compatible? And if so, have you seen any differences, as it were? I'll ask you, Vaughn. I'll get started with you, brother.
I put in Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a good game.
Already a good-looking game.
Yes, it was. Yes, indeed.
Even better on the PlayStation 5. Even better.
Oh man, what about the load times, Vaughn? How you feeling about the load times with the PS4 games? Is it the same thing?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. The only problem I was having with the load time was the PlayStation 4 games, and even those were still quicker than what they were on the PlayStation 4. And I think that was more so an issue with my external hard drive than the PlayStation 5.
Oh, okay. So to be clear, Vaughn, you Final Fantasy 7 remake. It's on your hard drive, your external.
Right.
Okay,
right.
gotcha.
I started that on the PlayStation 4.
Right.
But I brought it over to the 5 so I could see, did it get that boost? Did it look better? Did it run better? It's smooth. It's smooth as butter.
Wow, man, that's awesome. What about you, AB? Have you had a chance to try out anything that was backwards compatible and seen any of the benefits of it?
Yeah. I've like I said, the games that I did bring over, I put them on the SSD. So I was playing Ghost of Tsushima. And man, I was blown away double time because of the fact that I had never played the game.
Yes.
So this was a brand new experience just on that front. So I was blown away by what Sucker Punch were able to accomplish on the PS4. I was like, this is unbelievable. How in the world did they get this game to run on that Jaguar architecture? But then once I saw it on the PS5, and just saw how it was running, and then you had the performance and the resolution modes. Yeah, it looks really, really good to the point where I had to take a picture to send it to my people. I was like, man, this is just unbelievable. So yeah, when you put it, Yvonne, if you put any of your games from PS4 on the SSD, you'll see even greater performance for sure.
Okay. Now, when I say I'm playing Kiaun, because you asked me about my external.
Yes.
I'm only hooking the external up so that I can pick up where I left off, the save space. I'm actually putting the disc in and playing it off the disc, but I have to have the external to pick up. So I don't have to start the game mode. Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
All my settings and my saves and the way I had the game where I left off, that's on the external.
That's pretty awesome, actually, though, now that I'm thinking of it. So, I mean, not even any corrupt file or anything, even with your save file, because sometimes you know how it is, Vaughn and AB, you going from one machine to the next. Sometimes things get corrupted, because it's new hardware, it gets confused.
Yeah.
But you're saying that no issues with any of your saves. It everything just works.
Just pick up, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think the issue was just in the beginning. When it was actually, when I first put the disc in and started playing it, and it started reading off the external. But after that, the load times actually were just like they were on the PlayStation 4. Maybe a little bit better, and that's probably because it was reading it off the external, okay, well, he's saving here, let's pick it up here.
Okay.
Go to the next map or whatever. But yeah, and that's a good idea. I think I'm going to take AB's advice and go ahead and put that on the SSD.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I guess last thing before we wrap it up. And by the way, I gotta ask this real quick, man. Did either one of you? I'm going all the way back to Spider-Man Miles Morales. I meant to mention.
We know the first game he's getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I meant to ask you guys this in the beginning. Did either one of you put it in not performance mode, but I guess you could say graphics mode. It's not called graphics mode, but
fidelity mode.
Yeah. Did either one of you play it in that mode? Because that's where the ray tracing and all of that stuff is going on.
HDR, you talking about, right?
Yeah, HDR and right. I think it has ray tracing too, right, Vaughn?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how was that? Did you guys actually compare it, like from performance mode to fidelity mode? I'm gonna ask you, AB, first, because I don't want to hold you guys up much longer. But I just gotta ask it though, what it was like, man.
I haven't compared the two. I've immediately went to the fidelity mode.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what it was looking like with everything all baked in. And it looks excellent. It really does. When you're climbing the tall buildings and then you can see the reflections of looking at the street and the trees and everything. And yeah, it is real nice. I will be trying the performance mode because I want to just see how much smoother it is without the ray tracing on.
Right.
But at this point, man, I can't complain at all. It's an excellent game.
Not at all. I mean, the details that you can see, I mean, it's just amazing.
Wow, man, that is fantastic. All right, in closing, brothers, I gotta ask you guys one last question. What are you guys most excited about in this upcoming generation? I'll say for me first, just really quickly, I just want to say that I'm just excited that, not only about the load times, but we actually have the option to go into the performance mode or the fidelity mode. I think that's such a game changer. It just something that console gamers, I think we are going to benefit from so much. So I'll get started with you, AB. What's one of the things that you're looking forward to in this upcoming generation? Well, we're in the generation, this current generation.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just looking forward to seeing what the developers are able to do. At this point now, they don't really have too many barriers. And so now we've seen developers who would complain about, the old architecture and the limiting ability for them to be able to get their ideas out. So now, we can only imagine what they're able to do with the budgets that Sony's putting out there, with the controller, the way it is, the lack of load times. We're literally going to be playing movies. It's going to boil down to you. You look at the stuff that, even with sports, that NBA 2K21 looks amazing, man. Times are super short. It just creates a high level of engagement when everything is coming together the way it is. So if these developers can utilize it and they got the ideas to back it up, we have no idea what these guys are going to put up in this generation.
Man, I appreciate you saying that, AB. I really do, brother. Vaughn, I guess to close us out, brother, what are some of the things, or even just one thing, that you're looking forward to in this upcoming generation, brother?
I am looking forward to the surprises that we don't even know about yet. Because somewhere in some studio, they are gnashing at the teeth, going, we can't wait to get this out. And we don't even know about it, because think about it. Every time a new console comes out, we never get the best up front.
Right.
We never get the best up front. It takes a while for us to get the real. We just talked about it with last generation. So can you imagine if we're talking about Miles Morales and all the good things that we're enjoying now, and these are usually the ones we look back and go, remember when Sackboy came out? And that Spider-Man game, but we got this now, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Where we're going to be a year from now, 2 years from now.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point. And me and AB, just behind the scenes, he had mentioned that to me. He had said, you know what, Keys, this is just the beginning, and we're already starting out like this. Demon Souls, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and and I'm only bringing it up because of the controller, but it does seem like it's a really good game. Astrobot, this is just the beginning, man. We're not even a month in, and it's like this already. So, very, very fantastic time to be a gamer. And no matter what side you're on or what side you play on, it's an amazing time to be a gamer. But I gotta say, in all honesty, that PS5 is looking amazing right now.
Yeah.
Microsoft, they're going to get there. They'll get there eventually, but PlayStation is actually, just killing it all over the board. But, guys, man, I guess that is going to wrap it up. I really appreciate you two brothers being here with me. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to live vicariously through you guys for the PlayStation 5. And before we wrap it up, AB, is there anything that you would want to say to the listeners out there, brother, before we go?
Just happy this next generation, this current generation, just enjoy it. I want to thank you, Keys, for even having us on.
Oh, thank y'all.
Bringing us into your house and allowing us to just talk for a little bit. So appreciate that. Like I said, if anybody wants to link up with me on the PS5, the name is First and Foremost, FIRSTAND, the number 4, MOST. So hit me up. I'll hit you back and just enjoy these games.
Awesome, man. And thank you again, AB, for being here. It's absolutely appreciated, brother. And Vaughn, brother, you have the last word. Are there any last, well, I guess words you want to say to the listeners out there, my good brother?
Yeah, I'm just going to parrot my man AB. I'm just going to say the same thing, man. Thank you for letting me sit at the table with you guys. It's been an honor to just be on and just have a convo about this passion, this hobby that we have. And, everybody just play your games, enjoy what you got. If you don't have what the other guy has, talk to him and say, share that experience, just like we did here. Kiaun doesn't have it. He's an Xbox guy. He's enjoying what we're talking about on the PS5. But it doesn't matter what you play on, what the plastic is. Just enjoy what you got. Just have fun. Just have fun.
Very well said. Yes, indeed, Vaughn. Thank you, brother, again for being here, too. It's always a pleasure to be able to speak to you, brother. But with that being said, we are going to wrap it up. But before we wrap it up officially, though, if you want to leave any comments, leave some opinions, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, joined by Mr. AB.
My man.
And Mr. Vaughn.
It's your boy Vaughn. I'm out.
So with that being said, I guess, you said it best, Vaughn. We are out of here, and you guys take care and enjoy yourself.